They look fine. They're going to be okay. I overestimated them last week, but they're back. They're good.
Patrick Mahomes is so mean. I mean, like him in this game, he's playing with C minus wide receivers to be generous. He's playing with guys that are a bad day away from going to the practice squad. Then he drops over 30 points versus the Ravens, which is something they did not do at all last year. They have another rookie wide receiver come in this game, and he looked like he was pretty good for them, and he's actually going to come out and play well. And then the Chiefs are just shattering the Ravens and the Bills' hopes this year because the Bills finally thought maybe it's our time. We can get to the Super Bowl this year, and Patrick won't play well, and the Chiefs will be old. No, we're just the same old Chiefs, and we come out there, destroy the Ravens, and then now the Buffalo Bills have to actually look out and be like, okay. And then the Chargers lose their right tackle. The Broncos have underperformed where now they're just tied with the Kansas City Chiefs. You're not winning the division if you're tied at week 4 with the Kansas City Chiefs. You need to be up 2 games on them at this point if you want to win the division. So it just seemed like they toyed with the entire NFL. Like, yeah, we'll look bad for the first 3 weeks, even though we didn't score over 30 points. Like, keep talking like you did last year. And their defense, still the same defense, still looks elite, still looks like Steve Spagnuolo is the defensive coordinator and should be a head coach somewhere, and everyone's confused why he isn't.
And let's not forget, in 3 games from now, they also get Rashid Rice back from suspension. So he's going to come back, and then that's going to solve a lot of their receiver problems because then Hollywood can be your number 2. Tyquan Thornton, who has played well for them, he can be your number 3 moving forward. Travis
Or
Kelce can
5
be a
with
fine
4.
number 4. Yeah, like he can still be your number 3 or 4. And sooner or later, like the Chiefs are just going to be back to being that wagon that they've been. So this was a wake-up call. The Chiefs are back. They're not dead. They're doing okay. They destroyed the Ravens in this game, and I don't know who could have possibly doubted them. I don't know. That's crazy.
They're upset. They were mad.
They
They
were
didn't even
upset.
drop 30 last year. They dropped 30 points this week for you.
They did. They said, why are we on the worst top 5? Why are we in the same conversation as the Bengals and Panthers and Raiders and Bears? Well, I guess we can transition to this game. Bears and Raiders. Chaotic game is all I can call this. I don't even know where I could put my thumb on it. 25-24, they blocked the field goal to win the game, but neither of these teams are good football teams, I would say. Caleb Williams is an anomaly for me as well because I see the talent with Caleb Williams, but yet it just doesn't seem like him and Ben Johnson have yet to meld it together. Every time they have a good week, which I would say last week was one of those games, even though they're now starting to win football games, I still just don't believe in this Bears team. I think they're fraudulent, and they're prone to just be a team that just chokes in big moments. And I don't think that's going to change this game. Roma Dunze is starting to get it together, I suppose, but I don't know. This Bears team, I just can't put my finger on what exactly is wrong with them. Not on the Raiders side. Ashton Genty wakes up. He starts to run the football effectively now. Brock Bauer starts to get going. But Geno Smith, 3 interceptions. And that's what ultimately cost the Raiders at the end.
Yeah, Geno Smith leading the league in interceptions at this point, and it's not great for the Raiders because I said last week that there's no way Max Crosby would let the Raiders lose to Caleb Williams of all people. Like, you can't lose to Caleb Williams, especially if you're someone like Max Crosby, but he did everything he could. He probably had one of the best games he's ever played in his career, if we're being honest, when it comes to forcing turnovers, batting down passes. And then, the Bears actually played well in this game versus a really terrible Raiders team. So at least you look competitive. At least the Bears actually look fun. But the thing that should concern you for the Chicago Bears is that D Swift looked good in this game. And that might happen 1 or 2 more times the rest of the season. So now you have to think about it. Well, we only have 2 or 3 more games where D Swift is actually going to look good. So he better look good at the right time. So you really have to time that for the Chicago Bears. And then the Raiders, oh my God, if you give Ashton Genty the ball in space, he might actually do something. You figured it out. A good running back who can make people miss. Maybe sometimes you just need to get him in space where he can make a play one-on-one, and then you finally unlocked him, and you're going to have to lean on Ashton Genty, especially because we can't throw it every single time with Geno Smith. when you have an elite running back that you took it in the first round when Geno Smith is now throwing about 3 picks a game.
Yeah. And honestly, like every other game to this point, they're throwing the ball 40 times, 50 times. They're like, wait a minute. I have an idea. Why don't we give it to the number one running back in last year's draft, Ashton Genty, and see what happens? And look what they did. They gave him 20 carries. He had 140 yards. He also got it going on the ground as well. So, like, maybe, just maybe, Ashton Genty is the focal point of your offense. And then if you are going to throw the ball, rely on Brock Bowers because he's probably your best receiver. Jacoby Myers can be your two, as he probably rightfully should be. And maybe the Raiders will be effective. But they still fall in this game. Geno Smith, 7 interceptions to start the season. Not a good look for them. But the Raiders fall to the Bears. And then we were right. Where was the Brickyard right? We predicted that there will be a tie in the NFL this season in this week 4. And what did we get? Arguably the greatest game that ended in a tie in the history of the NFL. 40-40 Packers Cowboys. Jordan, I believe in a thing called love. 3 touchdowns, 0 picks. Dak Prescott, you guessed it, 3 touchdowns, 0 picks. Running the ball, Josh Jacobs with 2 touchdowns. We had Romeo guarding Cap Dobbs in this game as well. George Pickens with some of the greatest catches you've ever seen by a wide receiver. Even without CeeDee Lamb, they still put up 40 points. What an absolute cinematic Sunday Night Football game. Maybe the best Sunday Night Football game of the year so far.
Yeah, no, we've had some pretty good Sunday Night Football games, but this one's definitely up there. It's just, how do you feel about a tie? It's like one of those things you wish for it for so long, and then we predict that there was going to be a tie this weekend on the Brickyard, and then when you get it, you're just kind of there. Doesn't feel
It's
right.
so stupid.
It's uncomfortable. And then Dak and Jordan Love walk out and they're like, what did you think of your performance in the tie? Like, gay, I didn't like it.
I mean, they both played great. Their numbers are basically identical. They both ran the football effectively. Neither one of them could get a stop against the other one. This was cinematic in a lot of ways, but for me, like, I don't understand how hockey can have shootouts and it be a great overtime. Baseball can go to extra innings and it can be super exciting in baseball. Basketball just keeps playing until somebody hits a game winner. But yet in football, arguably the best sport in all of the land, and we can't figure out what to do when there's a tie score after the end of regulation and overtime. We can't think of, like, wait a minute, what if we made the kicker more valuable and we just do a kickoff where they start out with a 20-yard field goal and then 25, all the way up to, honestly, Brandon Aubrey could probably kick a 70-yard field goal pretty
It
easily.
should start at 50.
Why not just exchange blows with 50-yard field goals? I don't understand why they can't do that. I don't understand how, after all these years of football innovation, all the great things that they've done for the sport, why the tie is still a thing and why people are honored by the tie. Because now I look at the Cowboys and they're 1-2-1. I'm like, well, are they 2-2 or are they 1-3? Now with the Packers, are they 2-2 or are they 3-1? The tie ruins everything when it comes to seeding. I don't understand why they can't just come up with a solution. I don't understand, and it's actually disgraceful.
You know the answer to that? Like, are they 2-2 or 3-1?
What is it?
Yes.
Yes.
They
Yeah,
are.
exactly. It's fucking stupid. And now when it comes to seeding later on, it's going to ruin it for everybody. It doesn't just ruin it for them, it ruins it for every other team involved because they might be above or below this team because of the fact that they got a tie. It's the dumbest thing, and I actually despise it, to be honest.
Especially a pristine division like the NFC North. We expect this from the Bears. We even expect the occasional tie from the Vikings, but the Packers? Shame on you. I mean, you had the ball with about 5 minutes left in overtime, and then you're acting like the clock doesn't even matter, and then you end up letting the clock run all the way down where you don't even have a shot at the end zone, and then it was more important for you to tie than actually go for the win in this one, where the Packers, just wasted the clock in this one. We don't want to let the Cowboys have a chance to get it again. Well, even if they have a chance to get it again, you'll have a field goal. You just have to believe in your defense at this point. But we're out here to win games. And the fact that it looked like the Packers just kind of went for a tie, that's why Matt LaFleur loses in the first round every single year outside of the time he beat the Cowboys with Jordan Love. And for the people that are going to be like, oh, well, why would you let the kicker decide the game after, instead of a tie when you do a kicking competition? Like, you shouldn't make the kicker that important. Like, well, if you're about to tie and you can't resolve it in 70 minutes of play at this point, if you can't resolve it in 70 minutes, you deserve to lose because of your kicker, which brings in another thing I think should be relevant. I think sports have a few positions that should be allowed to do steroids. One of them is goalie in hockey. The other one is kicker and punter in football. I mean, why can kickers not take steroids? Are you out of your mind? I want to see an 80-yard field goal. Everyone wants to see a 70-yard field goal. I mean, you make it interesting. All right, we're going to make it a kicking competition. And because of that, now we're going to allow kickers to do steroids so we don't have ties anymore.
I like this idea. And Brandon Aubrey actually is the guy that should be the specimen here because he is the best. He could go down as the greatest kicker of all time already. Already can go down as the greatest kicker of all time, potentially. And for them, like they can kick a field goal when they're on the opponent or on their own 45, and he can probably still make it. So imagine if everyone takes steroids if you're a kicker and they can all kick 70-yard field goals. How is that not good for the sport? Especially now that they start at the 35-yard line. If it goes as a touchback, all you need is a first down, and Brandon Aubrey can get you 3 points. That's good for the sport. And then if it comes down to the kickoff, and it comes down to Brandon Aubrey and Brandon McManus, why is that? Why would that be a bad thing? I mean, we have this with goalies in the NFL and the NHL, right? Where it comes down to can their goalie get a stop, or your wingman can they get a goal against this other goalie? Like it, I think honestly the NHL has the best overtime rules in all of the sports as far as I'm concerned. Also, because of this rule, if we implement it, all of these kickers are going to go from making like, I don't know, $5-6 million a year to be making like $15 to $20 million potentially. Because God forbid it comes down to this overtime rule, they have to have the best kicker, or else they're going to be screwed.